All right, I call this meeting of the City Marshall Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Next item, roll call.
Fisher Short,
Here.
Byrne,
Here.
Hill,
Here.
Stewart, and Underhill.
Here.
You have a quorum?
Thank you. Next item, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item, approval of tonight's agenda. If there's any action the board desires, I'll hear it now. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next, approval of tonight's minutes. Again, the board would like to add or delete items. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the meetings from our previous meeting on January 16th.
So moved.
Support. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item, public comment on agenda items. I do not see, I assume, are you here for the application itself? Yeah. Okay, so I don't believe we have public here for comment. Move forward to tonight's application, which is an appeal for a dimensional variance for 775 Industrial Road. And will the city be providing comments first then, or?
Oh, thank you. I can. I can start by just describing the request, if that's
Yeah, up to you, or we can hear directly from the petitioners.
okay. What's your preference?
I'd rather you start.
Okay.
I'm not, familiar with the standards, so.
Okay. So
They're low, don't worry.
So we have a request before us. The owner, Tiger Towing, at 775 Industrial Road, they're seeking two variants, really. One for the front set, they're two actually front setbacks on that corner lot. The front on Industrial, they're asking for a setback change between the required 60-foot setback to a 50-foot setback. And then they're asking on the east side of the site, which is Mulberry. And I'd just like to clarify that in the report that's in the in with the agenda and the staff report says Cherry instead of Mulberry in multiple locations. We'll get that cleared up. But they're requesting to change that setback from 60 foot from the east side to 30 foot, which would treat it more like a side yard setback instead of a front yard setback on that side of the property. I put some information in the packet about it. It is a brownfield site. That doesn't really play into this request, but I just wanted to have the group be aware that they are aware that it is a brownfield site and that they have gathered information and they're working with their within the environmental regulations moving forward. What makes this site different and is really kind of the crux of the request. Not very many sites, a lot of sites have easements that are, for utility easements or additional right-of-way, needs. But this site has a very active easement that is utilized by the city on a daily basis very frequently. The city does not own the access to the wastewater treatment plant. that access is on this property. And the owners have been extremely cognizant of that and have been very forthcoming in trying to maintain that access as their project moves forward. We had a lot of discussions with DPW about their use of that easement and access road. It's really an easement, it's not an access road, but we use it like an access road. And what the needs of the forthcoming project would be, as far as we will be requiring screening of some of their use because they're, and I'll have him talk a little bit more about what their needs are, but it does require a fence that would be an opaque screening for a portion of that site. And there was some concern about, snowplows and everything, normally we would say that you could put a fence all the way up to the right of way or all the way up to the easement, right? But we know that really doesn't make sense for how that easement is used. And so if we're looking for a why, as to kind of allowing a variance, I feel like that's really kind of our crux, to kind of decide if that's worthy of making some adjustments here for them. I kind of went on to describe, there's also kind of an unusual right-of-way on the north side of the site. There's a 66-foot wide right-of-way on industrial, but it varies along that stretch of road, in particular in this property. It is increased due to old railway easements, all the way back from when the railway used to be almost in line with industrial road. And that is a carryover from way back then. We have discussed with DPW as far as utility requirements within that right of way. And, whether adjusting the setback would be a concern. And because there is, there's a right of way plus a setback, right? There was no concern from Marguerite or other utility, wastewater. We checked kind of with all the utility members to just make sure that we weren't causing any problems by reducing the setback, even especially on the Mulberry Road where we would be significantly decreasing that setback. And if you look in the packet, the last page in the packet, there is a sheet on the top. It says 775 Industrial Road map, and it has kind of a bunch of colored lines. That is the utilities that circumvent and cross through the site. And you can kind of tell over on the right side of the page where it says South Mulberry at the top, there's no utilities that are within that right of way adjacent to the property on their side of the property, right? Or their side of the road, my apologies. So that's not a big concern from a utilities perspective.
Okay, thank you very much. That was helpful. Petitioner, if you'd like to approach and add any additional commentary, and then we'll open it up for questions from the board, if any.
Okay, I believe that, she went over it fairly good. The push to move the fence, I'm gonna say the southern fence to move it forward north is so that, like she was starting to talk about as far as the snow removal on that easement. Cause it's like a two lane, you know what I mean? But it's, you have room to pass one another, the east and west bound. So, like I was telling her that, if they decided to start pushing snow over, I didn't want it to pile up against the fence or damage the fence, and that's the whole reason for the whole shift is off from that so that they can use it. I don't know, I don't know, she went over it real well. Probably said it a lot better than I could.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, on my end, I am going to recuse myself from voting tonight. I sit on the planning commission, so I'll be voting for the same thing, well, when it gets to that point, so. Boy.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
All right, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. All right, so I think at this point we can turn to deliberate. We've heard commentary from the city. I trust we've all reviewed the packet in depth. I'm, just to level set here, I guess I'm persuaded here by the lack of concern from the various stakeholders that the city has already consulted with. I trust we didn't receive any letters or written correspondence on this.
I did get one phone call just inquiring about what possibly the future use of the site was. And I informed them that the proposed project that was not really being voted on at this time was for some future storage units and for also a section of the site to be for his, like a small compound lot. He runs a towing company and does a lot of business in town. And this would just be the kind of local site for a small number of cars. They have a larger facility in Battle Creek that would serve as their kind of longer term storage. I'm paraphrasing, but okay.
And I assume if we had any issues with the proposed use, we'd be talking about use variances tonight as opposed to just a
Correct.
dimensional. Okay.
Those uses do fall in the industrial category. They're allowed. We, in fact, have another storage facility that will be going in on industrial around the same area. And the other use with the car towing location, as long as it is screened appropriately, which is why the fence is such a high value at this location. To maintain that fence is probably more important than maybe in some other locations, right?
Yeah, and that was the one item, while we're on the topic, that I wouldn't mind hearing a little more about. It's mentioned in here that will be sort of resolved in the design phase. So it sounds like if the variance were to be granted tonight, that concern that's been put forth around traffic visibility, we're not undoing any ability to ensure that's taken care of. It's going to be taken care of in a later stage.
Correct. What I think I'm going to do as part of before Planning Commission, it's even proposed at Planning Commission. We haven't really had them do any exercises with sight lines or anything at that corner to kind of ensure or make our staff feel comfortable about that fence location. So I really feel that once that exercise is completed, that I think that most of the concerns are really going to go away. But I can't prove that yet.
No, understood. I appreciate it. I guess in addition to what we've already said about outside stakeholder input, I think we are dealing with a unique property here. The various easements, utilities that are running through, I certainly don't see any harm or safety concerns. In fact, I think everyone is being quite cognizant of them in the way they're going about it. So those are my general thoughts on it. Welcome any other input from the board before we go to a vote.
Nope, I tend to agree. Easements on the west side with the easement on the south side. I think it's very cooperative.
All right, if there are no other comments, we'll go ahead and take a motion to approve the application. I need to be more specific than that. 1 second, let me get back to them. I'll take a motion to approve the appeal for the dimensional variance for 775 Industrial Road.
So moved?
Yes.
All right. I'll do a roll call vote, please.
Fisher Short,
Yes.
Byrne,
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
Appeal's been approved. We have a few other agenda items. You're welcome to stay. It's not very exciting, or you're welcome to go. It's up to you. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, any old business? All right. Reports, recommendations, new business. Don't believe we have any board reports tonight.
I don't have anything. I don't have even anything kind of in the works, coming forward. The only thing I would bring forward is, again, we are looking for an additional member for this board. So if there is, anyone that might be of interest, we would be amicable to accepting those recommendations.
What's that background?
Yeah, the main guidelines that are given relate to kind of a varied board, right? A lot of times, I don't think we have any lawyers on this board at this time. Sometimes, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. But that's one thing that is kind of recommended for Board of Appeals. But then it's generally, you're looking for a mix of, different professions that, relate, because it's kind of, an understanding of, zoning needs and construction sometimes, right? And female, right? I mean, engineers, business owners, people who have a vested interest in the community, yeah, kind of, it can be a range of people, but.
So
Right there.
there actually aren't any limits, but there's guidance.
From what I've seen, and I did bring the appeals handbook that I'm happy to share.
Yeah, you want to burn through these last few items and then talk about that more
Sure.
after the meeting, or, we
Yeah,
can keep it on them.
It's not on the agenda, and it's nothing, and it's nothing that is, hypersensitive. It's not anything.
Citizens help.
Yeah, I'm asking I'm just making sure that we voice that it is a item for this board, a concern of this board, to make sure we have enough people on it, so.
All right, we have our homework. All right, thank you. We have no public, so we'll breeze through that. We already touched on board reports, but I don't believe we have any there. So adjourn.